Daniel had been on many strange planets, but nothing felt as uncomfortable as standing inside the bright silver hull of the Verilian space station. The air was too clean, the silence was too loud, and the aliens were watching him, all of them, with eyes that glowed like blue fire. He tried to ignore the pressure building in his chest. He was a trained soldier. He had survived wars, explosions, darkness. But this situation felt different. A soft vibration hummed through the floor as the Verilian Council entered the chamber. Tall and elegant, their skins smooth and shining, they moved like flowing water. One of them stepped forward. Human Daniel, the elder spoke gently. You have been chosen to join our peace program. You will bond with one of our own. Her name is Lyra. Daniel's jaw tightened. Bond. Everyone knew what that meant. Mate. Produce hybrid children that would represent unity and trust between both species. He had known this might happen. He had even accepted the mission. But he did not expect her. Lyra stepped forward slowly, almost shyly. Her steps were uneven, her legs trembling slightly with each movement. Her skin was a pale green shade, soft but marked with small, raised bumps scattered across her arms and shoulders. Her black hair fell to her chin, straight and neat, framing a face that refused to meet his eyes. She looked fragile, broken, almost like a being carved out of glass. Daniel felt something twist inside him. It wasn't cruelty. It wasn't hate. It was fear and confusion. He swallowed hard. No, he said quietly. The council stared at him. The air froze. Daniel lifted his chin. I cannot do this. She looks weak. She's not fit for this kind of pairing. I wasn't prepared for her. His words trailed off when Lyra flinched, her head lowering even more. Her hands twitched at her sides, as if she desperately wanted to hide them. A strange silence followed, a silence Daniel could feel in his bones. The elder's face stayed calm, too calm. You judge what you do not understand, human Daniel. Daniel took a step back. He hated the way everyone was staring at him. He hated the guilt pressing against his ribs. He hated that he might have hurt her, but he couldn't take it back now. I'm sorry, he said, softer this time. I didn't mean to insult anyone. I can't be part of this. The elder approached him slowly. You cannot leave the station until the peace program is complete. That is the agreement between our species. Daniel frowned. That wasn't explained to me. It was in the document your commanders approved. Daniel cursed under his breath. He had signed so many forms. He never imagined something like this would trap him. The elder lowered his voice. You will regret judging her by her body, human. Our appearance does not define our truth. Daniel looked at Lyra again. She was staring at him now. Not angry, not sad, just watching him, like she had expected his refusal long before he spoke. A cold shiver ran down his spine. He didn't know why, but something about her eyes made him feel exposed, like she could see past his skin, past his armor, into his thoughts. He looked away quickly. I don't want to hurt her, he whispered. I just don't think I'm the right person. The elder nodded once. You will learn, he said, and when you learn the truth, everything will change. Daniel didn't understand. He didn't want to understand. He only wanted to breathe normal air again, feel normal ground, get away from these glowing eyes and silent halls. But he was trapped now, a guest or a prisoner. He wasn't sure. 2 Verilian guards guided him toward his assigned room. The hall stretched endlessly, filled with soft light and quiet humming. As he walked, Daniel glanced back. Lyra was still standing in the center of the chamber, motionless, staring after him with an expression he couldn't read. For a moment, just a moment, her skin flickered with a dim, sparkling glow. But when Daniel blinked, it was gone. He shook his head. Maybe it was the lights. Maybe it was his imagination. Maybe he was already losing his mind. Inside his room, he dropped onto the bed, rubbing his face. This is insane, he muttered. Mating with a disabled alien girl? What were my commanders thinking? The room lights dimmed gently, reacting to his stress level. The station tracked emotions. Another thing he didn't like. Daniel lay back and stared at the ceiling. He didn't want to hurt her, but he didn't want this forced connection either. He closed his eyes, and for some reason, Lyra's quiet eyes appeared in his mind again. He exhaled shakily. This is going to be a long mission. Before the scene fades, a gentle narrator voice speaks. If you're enjoying the story so far, please subscribe to this channel. It helps more than you know and allows us to keep creating new HFY sci-fi stories for you. The story returns to silence, and the darkness holds Daniel's confusion as part 1 comes to an end. Daniel woke up to a low humming sound vibrating through the walls. A soft, steady pulse, almost like a heartbeat echoing through the entire station. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then the memories rushed back. The council, the forced bonding program, Lyra, her quiet eyes, her trembling steps. He sat up slowly and touched his forehead. Great, a whole night in this place, and I'm already hearing things. But the humming didn't stop. It grew stronger, deeper. He stood and walked toward the door, placing his palm on the glowing pad. The door slid open silently. The hallway was empty. Too empty. Blue lights pulsed along the floor as if guiding him somewhere. Daniel stepped out cautiously. Another vibration moved under his feet. Stronger this time, almost emotional, like someone crying through the walls. He frowned. Okay, that's not normal. He followed the lights step by step, turning corners, passing through long glowing halls shaped like ribs from some giant creature. The station felt alive. That thought worried him more than he wanted to admit. He stopped walking when a cold breeze touched his neck. There shouldn't be wind inside a sealed ship. He turned. Lyra stood at the end of the hallway. She wasn't moving. Her robes hung still around her body like silent shadows. Her hair covered part of her face, but Daniel could feel her eyes on him. He froze. He didn't expect to see her this soon, and definitely not alone. Lyra, she didn't answer. She only tilted her head slightly, as if analyzing him, studying him. Daniel suddenly felt like prey. He swallowed. I didn't mean to wander off. The walls were vibrating, so I just... Her voice cut him off softly. You heard it. Daniel blinked. H heard what? The station's heart. She began walking toward him, slow, uneven steps, her weak legs trembling but determined. Daniel didn't move. Something about her presence made the air feel heavier, thicker, like the atmosphere itself reacted to her emotions. When she was close enough, he noticed something new. The bumps on her skin weren't dull anymore. They were faintly glowing, tiny lines of light running between them like invisible circuits. Daniel's breathing slowed. Your skin wasn't glowing yesterday. I was calm yesterday. Her answer made his stomach twist. So this glow happens when you're not calm? Sometimes. He looked around nervously. And is the whole station glowing because of you two? Lyra lowered her gaze. I try to control it. I usually succeed. Usually? Daniel took a slow step back. She didn't follow him. She only watched him with those deep, unreadable eyes. You refused me, she said quietly. Before even speaking to me, before knowing anything. Daniel winced. I didn't mean. You meant it, she whispered. But it is all right. Humans judge by what they see. It's normal for your kind. Daniel felt heat rise in his chest. I wasn't judging. You were. Her voice wasn't angry. It was sad, so sad it made the hallway feel colder. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. Look, Lyra, I don't want to hurt you. I just didn't understand what they were asking. You look fragile. Something changed in her expression. Not anger, not pride, something deeper. Fragile things can still break you, Daniel. A shiver crept down his spine. She stepped closer, just one step, but the lights overhead brightened as she moved. Daniel inhaled sharply. You're doing that? Yes. Why? Because my body reacts to energy, to my emotions, to yours. He took another step back. My emotions? Your fear, she whispered. It makes the lights stronger. Daniel felt his throat go dry. She wasn't threatening him. She was simply telling the truth. Lyra, where are you exactly? She lifted her gaze slowly. My people call me a Corborn. Daniel frowned. And what does that mean? It means I am connected to more than just my body, connected to energy, sound, light, life. The hallway lights suddenly flickered, then glowed brighter, almost blinding. Daniel shielded his eyes. Lyra, stop. She closed her eyes and breathed out. Everything went calm again. The lights softened. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "It is harder to control when I feel weak." Daniel stared at her trembling legs. "Your disability, does it come from your abilities?" She hesitated, then nodded. "When energy builds inside me, my body changes. Not all of me grows strong. Some parts get weaker." Daniel felt a strange ache in his chest. "So, the council wasn't forcing me to mate with someone weak. They were forcing me to mate with someone dangerous." Lyra didn't argue. She simply turned away. Her voice came out flat, emotionless. "I don't want danger for you, Daniel. I don't want a bond either. I try to stay alone. But they chose us." Daniel took a step forward instinctively. "Why me?" She stopped walking. For several seconds, she didn't move. Then, very slowly, she turned her head to look at him. "There is something in humans, a frequency in your emotions, in your hearts. It calms my energy, controls it. Without it, I could destroy things without meaning to." Daniel stared at her, stunned. "You're saying humans can control your power?" "No," she answered softly. "Only certain humans." Daniel's breath caught in his throat. "And I'm one of them." Her eyes glowed faintly. "Yes, Daniel, you are." Silence filled the hall. Heavy, shaking, full of new questions he wasn't ready to face. Daniel stepped closer, slowly. "If that's true, then why were you staring at me yesterday, like you already knew I would refuse?" Her lips parted slightly. "Because every human chosen for me before you refused too." Daniel felt the blood drain from his face. "How many?" Lyra didn't answer. The lights dimmed around them. A silent warning. A quiet pain. Daniel suddenly felt the weight of the situation press down on him like a storm. "Lyra," he whispered, "how many people did they match you with?" Her voice trembled. "6." Daniel felt the world tilt, the hallway spinning around him. 6 humans before him. 6 who refused. 6 who never even tried to know her. He pressed a hand against the wall. And what happened to them? Lyra looked away. The silence became terrifying. Then in a soft voice, "They all left the station." But the station did not remain the same. Their fear changed me, and I changed everything around me. Daniel felt cold all over. "What did you do, Lyra?" Her eyes lifted, glowing brighter than before. "Fear is a strong fuel, Daniel. It makes my power rise without control. And when power rises, something always breaks." Daniel's heart pounded. This girl, this fragile, trembling girl, could break an entire space station if pushed the wrong way. And now, he was the one chosen to stand beside her. The lights around them pulsed again, deeper this time, like a giant heartbeat inside the walls. Daniel swallowed hard. "Lyra, what do you want from me?" She looked at him silently, her expression unreadable, her voice barely a whisper. "I want you to not be afraid of me." But Daniel was afraid. Afraid of her power. Afraid of the secrets she carried. Afraid of what would happen next. And afraid of how this strange girl was already changing him inside. The hallway went silent again, but the station's heartbeat kept echoing. Slow, deep, alive, as if waiting for something, as if watching them both. Part 2 ended with a quiet, chilling pause, and the whisper of something dark awakening inside the walls. Daniel couldn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lyra standing in the hallway, glowing gently, like a fragile lantern holding a storm inside. He turned on his side, staring at the ceiling. He told himself he wasn't afraid, but his heartbeat kept giving him away. The station hummed again, that deep pulse, like something alive in the walls. Daniel sat up. "All right, fine. I'm going to find answers." He stood and walked toward the door. But before his hand touched the control panel, the door slid open on its own. Daniel froze. He didn't open it. No one was outside. The hallway was empty. A single blue light blinked on the floor, then another, leading the way forward. Daniel's pulse raced. Does this place read minds too? He stepped into the hallway, slowly, watching the lights as they guided him deeper into the station. He had been here only one day, but he already felt like something watched him everywhere he went. When he turned the final corner, he stopped. A tall Varillian male stood waiting, robe glowing softly around him. His eyes were different from the others, dimmer, older, heavy with memory. Daniel recognized him. The elder from the council. Human Daniel. The elder spoke. You wander the halls at dangerous hours. Daniel crossed his arms. Your station woke me up. It is not the station, the elder murmured. It is her. Daniel felt a chill. Lyra? She's doing this. She cannot help it. Her emotions echo through the station like storms through the sea. Daniel frowned. That doesn't explain anything. If she's so dangerous, why pair her with humans? The elder stepped closer, lowering his voice. Because humans can survive her. Daniel blinked. Survive. Her energy destroys Virilians. Our bodies cannot withstand it. But humans you bend. You absorb. You adapt. Daniel shook his head. I didn't sign up to be a lightning rod. You signed up for peace, the elder reminded him. And peace requires sacrifice. Daniel looked away, jaw tight. I'm not afraid of sacrifice. I'm afraid of making a mistake. I don't understand her. I don't know how to help her. You do not need to understand yet, the elder said gently. You only need to stay. Daniel hesitated. Stay with her? Yes. Just stay? That's it. The elder nodded once. When she is alone, the energy inside her builds without balance. When she is near a compatible human, the energy calms. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. I refused her. How could she trust me now? The elder's eyes softened. Trust begins with presence, not words. Something about that struck Daniel harder than he expected. Before he could reply, the floor vibrated, harder than before. The lights flickered overhead. A low rumble moved through the walls like distant thunder. Daniel straightened. What was that? The elder's expression tightened. She's awake and afraid. Daniel felt his stomach drop. What happened? We do not know. But she is losing control. Daniel didn't think. He rushed past the elder, following the vibration. Every step he took, the tremors grew stronger. The lights pulsed faster. The air felt charged, like static crawling across his skin. He reached a long, curved hallway glowing white-blue. Lyra was at the far end, on her knees, hands pressed to the floor, breathing hard. Her entire body was glowing like liquid stars, her skin pulsing with light, her hair lifting as if in a gravity wave. Daniel slowed. Lyra, she didn't look up. The air around her shook, like heat waves rising from fire. The lights above them brightened until Daniel had to squint. Lyra, talk to me, he said, stepping closer. What's happening? Her voice came out broken, shaky. Please don't come near me. Daniel stopped. I can't control it, not right now. I try to sleep, but my energy kept rising. Something is wrong inside the station. I can feel all of it too much, too loud. Daniel scanned the hall. Nothing seemed wrong, but the vibrations piercing the floor told him otherwise. He took a slow breath. Lyra, look at me. She lifted her head slightly. Her eyes glowed bright white. Daniel felt the heat hit him, sharp, burning, but he didn't move back. He crouched slowly in front of her. I'm here, he said quietly. You're not alone. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. You'll get hurt. Maybe, he said softly, but I'm staying anyway. Her glow softened just a little. Daniel reached out, hesitated, and placed his hand gently on her forearm. Her skin was hot, too hot. The energy pulsed under his fingers like electricity. But as soon as he touched her, the vibration in the hall slowed. Her breathing steadied. The light dimmed. The glow softened. She looked at him with wide, shocked eyes. How did you do that? Daniel tried to smile. You said humans calm you down. Maybe you were right. She stared at him, studying his face, as if she had never seen him before. Then her voice barely slipped out. No human has ever touched me before. Daniel's breath caught. Never, never. Not even the others who were matched with you. She shook her head slowly. They all feared me too much. Her voice cracked on the last word. Daniel felt a heavy pressure inside his chest. Anger, sadness, pity, and something else he couldn't name. He squeezed her arm gently. Well, I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. Her eyes glowed again, but this time with warmth instead of fear. But then, a loud metallic screech ripped through the hall. Lights flashed red. The floor shook violently. Lyra gasped. No, no, no. Daniel, something is entering the station. Something powerful, something wrong. Daniel looked up sharply. The lights dimmed. A deep shadow appeared at the far end of the hallway. Long, tall, moving like a creature made of smoke. Lyra grabbed Daniel's wrist. Her voice trembled. It came for me. Daniel stepped in front of her without thinking. Heart hammering, eyes fixed on the growing shadow. Stay behind me, he whispered. The shadow stopped moving. A deep voice echoed through the hall. Corborn, we finally found you. Daniel felt ice crawl up his spine. And Lyra, for the first time, looked truly afraid. The hall darkened. The creature stepped forward, and Daniel realized the real danger had just arrived. The shadow moved again, slow, tall, stretching across the glowing walls like a nightmare taking shape. Daniel felt every muscle in his body tighten. His hands curled into fists, even though he knew fists weren't enough. Not for something like this. Behind him, Lyra clung to his sleeve. Her grip was trembling, weak, but full of a fear Daniel had never seen in her before. He whispered without turning. Lyra, what is that thing? Her voice came out thin, breaking. They are called the Vorak, the hunters of Corborn. They track my energy, no matter where I hide. Daniel swallowed hard. And it came here for you? Yes. The shadow stepped forward until it reached the light, and Daniel finally saw it. A tall, humanoid figure, skin like cracked stone, dark veins glowing faint red beneath the surface. Its eyes burned with a faint orange light, not bright but ancient, like embers inside a dying fire. Its mouth opened slightly, and the air around them grew colder. Daniel forced his feet to stay still. You're not taking her, he said, steady but quiet. The creature tilted its head, studying him. A human, it hissed softly. The council grows desperate. Daniel didn't blink. She's under my protection. The creature's chest vibrated. Was it laughing? A low, grinding sound like rocks being crushed. You cannot protect her. You cannot protect yourself. Daniel stepped forward anyway. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't have armor. But he had something stubborn in his blood that refused to let him back down. Behind him, Lyra whispered his name, terrified, begging him silently not to fight. But Daniel didn't stop. What do you want with her? He asked. The Vorak lifted one long, clawed hand. To end her. Lyra gasped sharply. Her glowing skin flickered violently. Daniel's heartbeat exploded in his chest. Why? He demanded. She is unstable. Dangerous. A living core without control. A core born left alive too long becomes a starbreaker. She must be destroyed before she destroys all. Daniel glanced back at Lyra. She looked small, fragile, eyes wide and glowing with fear. Her voice was barely audible. It's true, without balance, without control, I can destroy things. I never want to, but Daniel knelt slightly beside her, speaking softly. Look at me. She lifted her trembling eyes. You are not a monster, he said, and I'm not letting anyone treat you like one. Her breath caught, light softening around her like a trembling flame. But the Vorak took another step closer. The floor cracked beneath its feet. Human, it growled, move aside. You stand in the way of survival. Daniel rose to his full height. Then you'll have to go through me. The Vorak raised its hand, claws glowing red. Lyra cried out, Daniel, don't. Your body can't survive that heat. Daniel didn't move. The creature launched a burst of red light, fast as lightning. But as it hit Daniel, something impossible happened. The light bent, twisted, faded, not even a burn. The Vorak froze. Lyra froze. Daniel stared at his hands. What just happened? Lyra whispered, like she was seeing a miracle. You absorbed it. Daniel blinked. What? You took the energy into your body. It didn't hurt you. It didn't weaken you. It became silent inside you. Her voice trembled in awe. You're a regulator. A human who can absorb core-born energy without damage. She touched his arm gently, and the glow around her softened even more. Daniel understood nothing, but he understood enough. He could protect her. The Vorak hissed, stepping back now. It cannot be a human regulator? Your kind should have died out long ago. Daniel didn't waste time. He grabbed Lyra's hand. Come on. We're leaving. Now. Lyra tried to stand, but staggered, her weak legs shaking uncontrollably. Daniel caught her instantly, one arm around her waist, lifting her with ease. The Vorak roared. Corborn, you cannot run from your fate. Daniel glared at the creature. She's not running. I'm taking her somewhere safe. He turned and carried Lyra down the hall as the station lights flashed red. Alarms blaring, the floor trembling under his feet. Behind them, the creature's footsteps cracked the tiles. Lyra clutched Daniel's shirt, her voice barely a breath. Daniel, why are you helping me? He didn't slow down. Because you're not alone anymore. But I'm dangerous. So am I, he said through heavy breaths. Maybe for different reasons. She stared at his face, stunned, glowing eyes softening with something like trust. But the moment was shattered as another violent tremor shook the corridor. Daniel almost lost his balance, pressing Lyra tight against his chest. What now? He muttered. Lyra's eyes widened. The Vorak called others. I can feel them. The station is surrounded. Daniel tightened his grip. Any safe place on this ship? The core chamber, she whispered. It repels outside energy. But I've never entered it alone. It responds only to someone who can balance my power. Daniel looked down at her. Me. Lyra nodded slowly. He drew in a sharp breath. Then let's get you to the core chamber before those things tear this station apart. The lights flickered dangerously. A distant roar echoed through the halls. Lyra pressed her forehead weakly against Daniel's shoulder. I'm sorry, this is happening because of me. Daniel shook his head. No, Lyra. This is happening because someone failed to protect you before. Another crash sounded behind them. Daniel carried her faster. But then, the hallway ahead split open with a loud metallic shriek. A second Vorak emerged. Bigger, faster, uglier, its claws dripping with red heat. Daniel froze. Lyra clutched him tighter. Daniel, we're trapped. The Vorak stepped forward, growling. The Corborn is ours. Daniel set his jaw. His body felt warm again. That same warmth he felt when he absorbed the first attack. He gently set Lyra against the wall. Stay behind me. But Daniel, he stepped forward, and the glow in his chest pulsed with rising energy. He didn't know what he was becoming. He didn't know how much power he could take. But he knew one thing. He wasn't letting them take her. Not while he still breathed. The Vorak charged. The walls shook. Lyra screamed his name, and Daniel threw himself into the attack with a force he didn't know he had. As the hallway exploded into blinding light, a blast of white light swallowed the hallway. A wave so bright and violent that even the walls seemed to scream. Daniel felt the energy slam into him. But instead of burning him, instead of tearing through him, it flowed into him, like water being pulled into sand, like lightning sinking into metal. His body shook, but he didn't fall. He didn't break. He stood in the middle of the explosion, alive. The Vorak staggered back, clawed hands trembling, cracks appearing across its stone-like skin. Impossible. It hissed, a low, terrified sound, and stepped away from him like he was the monster now. Daniel blinked through the smoke as the glow around him slowly faded. His heartbeat was slow, calm, steady. Behind him, Lyra whispered fearfully, Daniel, are you alive? He turned toward her. She was pressing herself against the wall, eyes wide, glowing bright, afraid not of the Vorak this time, afraid of him. Daniel lifted a hand gently. It's okay. I'm okay. The cracks of energy around his skin faded. The color returned to normal. But Lyra still looked at him like she was watching something sacred or dangerous. He stepped toward her. Lyra, I don't know what's happening to me, but I'm not your enemy. Remember that. Her glowing eyes softened, just slightly, and she reached out, touching his chest lightly with trembling fingers. The energy inside him responded, humming softly. You absorbed a full Vorak attack, she whispered. No human, no creature should be able to do that. Daniel managed a breathless laugh. I guess I didn't have a choice. No, she whispered. You always have a choice. That is what makes you dangerous. Daniel didn't know what to say to that. Before he could speak, The ground trembled again. A deep metallic roar echoed through the halls. Not one creature, but many. Lyra's entire body stiffened. They're here. More of them. They're spreading through the station like they're hunting me. Daniel tightened his fists. Then we keep moving. He lifted her again, her weight light, as if she were made of energy instead of flesh. She didn't resist this time. Her hands gripped his shoulders, her forehead brushing his collarbone. Daniel, she whispered weakly. Yeah. Why didn't you run when the Vorak attacked? All the others ran. Daniel kept walking faster. Because I'm not like the others. You should be, she breathed. It's safer. Not for you. Her breath caught in her chest. But I don't want you hurt because of me. Daniel shook his head. I'm not planning on dying today. A sudden crash exploded behind them. The first Vorak bursting from the smoke, body cracked but still standing. Daniel cursed under his breath. These things don't quit. Lyra pointed ahead with shaking fingers. There. The core chamber. That door. A large circular door pulsed with blue light at the end of the hall. Daniel sprinted, but the ground beneath him shook violently as two more Vorak climbed out of cracks in the walls. Like insects crawling through stone. Lyra squeezed her eyes shut. No, they're forming a triangle. They want to cut off the energy path. The core chamber will close if they block it. Daniel didn't slow. I don't care. We're getting through that door. The Vorak roared and charged, closing in from all sides. Daniel held Lyra tighter. Hold on. He dropped low, sliding across the floor and rolling just as the first Vorak smashed its claws into the ground where he had been. Sparks flew. He kicked off the floor and sprinted again. The second Vorak swung its arm. A blade of red energy slicing the air. Daniel felt heat streak past his face. But he dodged, twisting his body around the attack. Behind him, the hallway exploded into molten debris. Lyra gasped, clinging to him desperately. Daniel, your body, your skin, it's reacting to their energy. It's changing. He glanced down while running. His arms were glowing faintly. Thin blue lines of energy flowing under his skin like Lyra's. But dimmer, raw, unstable. I don't know why, Daniel muttered. But I'll take anything that keeps us alive. The third Vorak roared and leaped toward them, faster than the others. Its giant claws raised. Lyra screamed, Daniel! Daniel pivoted, but suddenly the energy inside him surged again. His vision sharpened. The world slowed. He ducked under the creature, grabbed its arm, and redirected its momentum, slamming it into the wall with a massive shockwave. He stared at his hands, stunned. I shouldn't be able to do that. Lyra's voice shook with disbelief. You are becoming something new. Daniel didn't have time to process that. The core chamber door slid open slowly, glowing with pulsing white-blue energy. They were only a few steps away, but behind them, the Vorak weren't done. All three creatures rose, glowing cracks spreading across their bodies like burning veins. And then, something worse happened. Their bodies began to merge. The stone cracked. The shadows twisted. The three shapes fused into one massive, monstrous form. Lyra cried out, No, it's forming an apex. Daniel, run. Run. Daniel ran. The apex Vorak roared. A sound so deep the walls split open, and charged after them, shaking the entire station. Daniel grabbed the edge of the core chamber door, but the apex leaped. Daniel threw Lyra inside. Then, the apex slammed into him like a meteor. Daniel flew backward, skidding across the floor, his back smashing into the opposite wall. Pain shot through him. Lyra screamed his name again, voice cracking with terror. The apex lunged toward her, and Daniel's body moved on its own. He didn't think. He didn't breathe. He burst forward, faster than he ever thought a human body could move, leaving a trail of light behind him. He slammed into the apex, tackling it away from the core chamber. The walls shattered around them. Lyra reached out, tears glowing on her cheeks. Daniel, please come inside. The chamber can save you. You can't fight that thing alone. Daniel stood between her and the monster, chest rising and falling, energy pulsing under his skin. I'm not fighting alone, he said quietly. He met Lyra's eyes, and for one moment the world softened. "I have you." The apex roared, and the battle began. The apex Vorak lunged, a mountain of stone and burning veins, filling the entire hallway with its shadow. Daniel moved before the creature's claws even reached him, his body reacting faster than his mind could think. He ducked under the first strike, rolled, then slammed his shoulder into the creature's leg. A shock wave cracked the floor. The apex staggered, but only slightly, as if Daniel had hit a wall. Daniel felt pain shoot down his arm. Not enough. Not nearly enough. The apex roared, a deafening sound that made the air vibrate. Lyra screamed his name. "Daniel!" He forced himself to stay on his feet, teeth clenched. The monster swung its enormous arm, a blade of burning red energy slicing toward him. Daniel threw up both arms to block. The impact hit him like a collapsing star. But instead of cutting him in half, the energy flowed into his skin, into his bones, into his blood. His eyes widened. The red glow traveled up his arms, fading into his body like water sinking into dry earth. Lyra gasped. "Daniel, your skin, it's changing again." Daniel looked down. Thin blue veins of light were spreading across his arms and chest, glowing faintly under his skin, pulsing with every heartbeat. He didn't understand it, but he knew one thing. He wasn't powerless anymore. The apex growled, confused, furious, unstable. It struck again. This time Daniel caught its claw with one hand. His boots slid across the floor, sparks flying. But he held the attack. Held it. The apex roared louder. Red cracks spread across its body, glowing hotter, like molten rivers running under stone. Lyra's voice trembled. "Daniel, that form, it can destroy half the station if its core breaks. You must enter the chamber. Please." Daniel didn't look back. "I can't leave until you're inside too. But you'll die out here." Daniel tightened his grip on the apex's claw. "Not today." He twisted, throwing the creature sideways, smashing it into a support column that shattered on impact. The monster stumbled and raged. Daniel didn't hesitate. He charged. He moved like he was being pulled by something inside him. Something raw, powerful, alive. He punched the ground. A burst of blue light exploded outward under his fist. A shockwave so strong it knocked the apex off balance. Lyra covered her mouth, stunned. "Daniel, what are you becoming?" He didn't answer. He didn't know. The apex lunged again, faster this time. Its claws aimed directly at Lyra. Daniel's heart stopped. "No!" He threw his body between them, arms wide. The claws struck him full force. But again, the energy bent into him, sank into him, disappeared like light swallowed by a void. Daniel gasped, the force rattling his bones. But he stayed standing. The apex froze, shocked, its burning eyes flickering. Daniel exhaled shakily. "I'm getting tired of you." He drove his fist into the creature's chest, and blue energy erupted through the cracks in its body. The apex stumbled back, screeching. Dark smoke poured from the fractures. Lyra cried out, "Daniel, its core is destabilizing. It's going to explode. Run." Daniel turned to her. Her glowing eyes were filled with terror and fear for him, and something deeper. He reached for her. "We go together." She nodded, eyes shining with something like trust and something like heartache. Daniel lifted her again, her arms wrapped around his neck, her forehead pressing against his jaw. The apex screamed, cracks splitting wider, red molten light leaking out. Daniel didn't waste a second. He sprinted. The hall shook violently behind him. Red cracks raced along the walls. The air heated like a furnace. Lyra clung to him, whispering shakily, "Daniel, please hurry. Its core is going critical." He ran faster, legs burning, lungs screaming, but he did not slow. The door to the core chamber was almost closed. Daniel dove inside, rolling with Lyra in his arms. The door slammed shut behind them, and a second later, a massive explosion hit the other side, rocking the chamber, sending cracks of red light splashing across the sealed door. Daniel shielded Lyra's head as the room trembled violently. The explosion faded into echoes. Silence fell. Daniel's breath came hard and uneven. Lyra slowly pulled back, eyes wide, full of disbelief. "You're injured," she whispered. Daniel looked down. His arms were bruised. His hands were bleeding. His breath was ragged. But the blue light under his skin was stronger than before. "I'll live," he murmured. Lyra touched his cheek gently, voice trembling. "You saved me again, even when you didn't have to." Daniel met her gaze. "Of course I did." Her eyes shimmered, a soft glow spreading through them like stardust. But something flickered behind that glow. Fear. Not for herself. For him. "Daniel, something is happening to you," she whispered. "You're absorbing energy you shouldn't be able to touch. You're changing faster than your body can understand." Daniel gave a small, tired smile. "Maybe that's a good thing." "No," she breathed, shaking her head. "It might kill you." Daniel slowly stood up, steadying her with a hand. "Then you'll keep me alive." She looked at him, really looked at him, like she was memorizing him. Her voice fell to a whisper. "I don't want you to die for me." Daniel leaned closer, his voice quiet and steady. "I'm not dying for you, Lyra." He brushed his thumb against her warm cheek. "I'm living for you." Her breath hitched, a soft sound like a spark catching fire. Something changed in the chamber around them. The glowing walls brightened. The lights hummed. The air warmed. The core chamber reacted to their bond, slowly awakening. A deep, calm voice echoed through the room. Regulator detected. Core-born present. Balance protocol activated. Daniel and Lyra froze. "What does that mean?" Daniel asked. Lyra's lips parted slowly. "It means the chamber accepts you." The room around them brightened further. White energy swirling around them like snowflakes in light. "And it means you're no longer just human, Daniel." Daniel stared at her, stunned. Lyra's glowing eyes trembled. "It means you were always meant for me." The chamber's energy rose, and their fate began to change. The chamber lights brightened, slowly at first, then brighter, brighter, until the entire room felt like the inside of a star. Daniel shielded his eyes, but strangely, the light didn't hurt him. It felt warm, alive, familiar. Lyra stood in the center of the glowing floor, her body trembling, the bumps on her skin shining like tiny suns. Her legs almost gave out, but Daniel caught her before she fell. The chamber spoke again, a deep mechanical voice echoing through the light. "Regulator synchronization begins. Core-born stabilization required. Warning, power level critical." Lyra stiffened. No. The apex explosion damaged the station more than I thought. The energy is spreading. Daniel, if the core overloads, everything will die. Daniel tightened his grip around her shoulders. "Tell me what to do." "You can't do anything," she whispered. This chamber was built for Virilians. Humans were never meant to survive inside. Daniel gave a small smile. "Too late to tell me that now." But Lyra shook her head violently. "You don't understand. My energy is rising, out of control. The chamber will try to drain it. And if it drains too much..." She looked at him, eyes shimmering with fear. "I'll die." Daniel's breath froze. "No, not happening. Tell me how to stop it." "I can't," she whispered. "No one can. I was never supposed to live this long." The chamber glowed violently, the floor splitting open with veins of brilliant blue light. Lyra gasped, a sharp, painful sound, as her body lifted from the ground, energy bursting from her skin like beams of light. "Lyra!" Daniel grabbed her arm, the heat almost burning him, but he refused to let go. The chamber voice boomed. "Balance unstable. Regulator required for full synchronization. Initiating link." A beam of light shot toward Daniel's chest, hitting him so hard he stumbled. Heat flooded through his body, filling his limbs, twisting his heartbeat into a new rhythm. His skin glowed, blue veins brightening, spreading, connecting. He fell to his knees. Pain tore through him. His vision blurred. Lyra screamed, "Daniel, stop. It's killing you. Please, please let go." He forced his eyes open, teeth clenched. "No. I'm staying with you. You'll die." Daniel reached out, pulling her into his arms. Even his energy ripped through both their bodies. Better together, he whispered through agony, than losing you. Her eyes filled with tears, glowing tears that floated from her cheeks as pure light. The chamber shook violently. The walls cracked. Alarms blared. Warning, core-borne decompensation. Regulator sync at 18%, 27%, 41%. Energy flooded the room, spiraling around them, pushing them together faster, tighter, until their bodies aligned, chest to chest, their heartbeats sinking. Lyra gasped. Her glow intensified, soft at first, then immense, like a rising star. Daniel, I can feel you inside the energy. You're holding it for me, absorbing the excess like you're meant for it. Daniel's voice trembled. I'm here. I'm not letting you fall apart. Her breath shivered. You don't know what you're becoming. I don't care. The chamber voice boomed again. Synchronization, 64%, 75%, 82%. Balance, approaching stability. Lyra collapsed against him, shaking. Daniel wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close, steadying her as energy flared around them in spirals of blue-white fire. Her voice was soft and broken. Why are you doing this? You barely know me. Daniel rested his forehead against hers. I know enough. She blinked through tears. What do you know? He breathed out. That you're worth saving. Lyra's eyes widened, and then something inside her snapped loose. Not pain, not fear. Something warm, something bright, something beautiful. Her glow shifted from violent flares to soft waves to steady light. The chamber suddenly calmed. The alarm softened. Balance reached. Core-borne stabilized. Regulator link complete. Daniel gasped, falling onto his knees, pulling Lyra down gently with him. His chest burned. His arms shook, but he was alive. Lyra leaned into him, weak but glowing. You saved me. Daniel exhaled shakily. You saved me too. The chamber light faded, leaving only the soft glow of their synced skin. A long moment passed, quiet, peaceful, until the door of the core chamber broke open. The elder Verilian council stepped in, eyes wide in shock. One elder whispered, Impossible. She is stable after all these cycles. Another stared at Daniel, and the human, he is glowing with Verilian energy. He survived full synchronization. Daniel stood slowly, still holding Lyra. What does this mean? He asked. The eldest counselor spoke. It means the prophecy was real. A core-born cannot survive alone. Only a human with the regulator gift can save her. You two are the balance between our species. You are the first true bond. Lyra looked at Daniel. Softly, shyly, almost frightened of what she felt. Daniel, we are connected now. Deeply. Our lives are tied. What happens to you happens to me. Daniel squeezed her hand. Good. Then I'll stay alive. She tried to smile through her exhaustion. You're supposed to be afraid. He shook his head. I was afraid before I knew you. I'm not afraid anymore. Lyra leaned against him, half glowing, half shaking, completely safe in his arms. Daniel lifted her chin gently. Whatever comes next, we face it together. She nodded, her voice barely a whisper. Together, but before the moment settled, the entire station shook. A new alarm blared. The council turned pale. They're not gone, the elder whispered. The apex was only one. The Vorak fleet is approaching the station. Daniel tightened his grip on Lyra. Lyra's eyes glowed fiercely. Not with fear now, but with power. Daniel felt a pulse inside himself, his new energy rising to meet hers. Lyra whispered, Daniel, the Vorak didn't come to kill me. Daniel frowned. Then why? Her body glowed brighter. They came to stop what I would become, if I ever found my regulator. Daniel's heartbeat froze. And what would you become? Lyra turned her glowing eyes toward the trembling station, toward the approaching fleet, and whispered, something strong enough to end them all. Daniel took her hand. Then let's show them. The chamber lights flared, their combined energy rising. Two beings in perfect balance. And the war they were meant to fight was just beginning.